Hey, welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome. You showed up at exactly the right time. Because today we are talking about something that made the entire K-pop world, especially ARMYs and Engins, genuinely emotional together. And no, that is not an exaggeration. This is real, this happened, and by the end of this video, you are going to feel every bit of it. So, how many of you already know that Jungwon, the beloved leader of ENHYPEN, is famously known as a hardcore ARMY? If you already knew that, raise both hands. And if you didn't know yet, well, after this video, you are going to fall even deeper into this K-pop rabbit hole. Consider yourself warned. Alright, let's get into it. We are going to break everything down today, from the most viral moments, to the most heartwarming confessions, to the fan reactions that literally flooded Twitter, now known as X, within minutes. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because content like this is going to keep coming your way. Before we dive into the heart of what makes this story so special, let's get properly acquainted with the young man at the center of it all. For those of you who might still be fairly new to the K-pop world, Jungwon, known by his stage name Jungwon, was born on February 9, 2004, in Seoul, South Korea. Even before stepping into the world of K-pop, he was already displaying extraordinary dedication. He was a taekwondo athlete for 4 years before ever setting foot in a training room. The discipline, the focus, the drive, it was already there from the very beginning. His journey as a trainee took him through several major agencies. He started at SM Entertainment, then moved to RBW, and eventually landed at Big Hit Entertainment, now known as HYB, where everything changed. In total, Jungwon trained for 3 years and 4 months before making his debut. That is not a short time. That is years of blood, sweat, and tears poured into a dream. And when the moment finally came, it was anything but ordinary. In June 2020, Jungwon joined the legendary survival program Island, and on the night of the final, September 18, 2020, he claimed the #1 spot with over 1.4 million global votes. 1.4 million people chose him before he even had an official debut stage. That alone tells you something about the kind of presence he carries. On November 30th, 2020, Jungwon and his 6 bandmates officially debuted as ENHYPEN, and they wasted no time making their mark. Their first mini-album, Border, Day 1, sold over 318,000 copies in a single day, the highest first-day sales record for any K-pop rookie group that year. As the leader of ENHYPEN, Jungwon is widely recognized for his warmth, wisdom, and sense of responsibility. His members have often praised him for his ability to keep the group's dynamics healthy and their team's spirit alive. As a performer, he brings stability and softness to his vocals and breathtaking precision to his dancing, especially in the popping style. But beyond all of that, beyond the awards, the records, the sold-out tours, there is one thing that has remained a defining part of Jungwon's identity since the very beginning of his career. He is a genuine, devoted, undeniable ARMY. And that is exactly what this entire video is about. Now, if you have been following Jungwon's journey for any length of time, you already know that his love for BTS is not something he ever tries to hide or downplay. Since his debut, he has openly acknowledged that BTS is one of the greatest sources of inspiration in his life. He has even cited RM as his role model for leadership, and when you think about it, that makes perfect sense. 2 leaders from 2 different generations of K-pop, both carrying the same kind of thoughtful, selfless approach to guiding their teams. But what sets Jungwon apart from other idols who simply say they admire BTS in interviews is the consistency and authenticity of how he expresses it. He does not just drop their name when a reporter asks. He actively listens to their music, follows their activities in real time, reacts to their performances with the kind of enthusiasm that cannot be faked, and engages with BTS content on Weverse the way any devoted fan would. And then came a moment that made the entire K-pop internet stop in its tracks. It was August 2023. Jungwon and Jae from ENHYPEN had created a challenge video for Jungkook's song 7. And then, Jungkook himself noticed it and responded. But here's the thing that made it even more overwhelming. It was not just Jungkook. Jimin and Jin from BTS also left their reactions and words of appreciation. Picture that for a second. Three of your biggest biases, three members of the group you have loved and looked up to your entire career, all responding to something you created on the same day. What do you even say to that? Well, Jungwon's response on Weverse was this: That is not a typo. That is genuinely what he wrote. A string of letters that perfectly captured the feeling of a person who has completely run out of words because the happiness inside them is simply too large to be expressed in coherent language. He also added a deeply moved emoji because of course he did. And the fans? They absolutely lost it alongside him. One comment read, "I know he can't even speak right now." Not just Jungkook, but 3 Bangtan members praised him. Another fan wrote, "He is so consistent with the admiration he shows for BTS." And someone else simply said, "He is the most legit idol army." That last one really stuck, because it was not just a compliment, it was a recognition of something real. Now let's talk about the specific moments that have gone viral and keep reminding the world just how deeply Jungwon's admiration for BTS, and for Jimin in particular, runs through everything he does. To fully appreciate why these moments hit so hard, it helps to understand who Jimin is as an artist. Jimin has built one of the most distinctive and emotionally resonant solo discographies in all of K-pop. His self-written OST Serendipity, with its delicate, dreamlike quality, became an instant fan favorite and went on to surpass hundreds of millions of streams on Spotify. Then there is Filter, a theatrical, genre-blending performance piece that even its own lyricist described as having reached its true perfection through Jimin's extraordinary stage presence. And when his debut solo album Face arrived, lead single, Like Crazy, made history, becoming the first song by a Korean solo artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Jimin is not just a member of BTS, he is a force of his own, and Jungwon knows this. You can hear it every time he talks about BTS music. You can see it in the way his entire energy shifts the moment a BTS song starts playing. On January 25th, 2025, Jungwon held a Weverse live session that quickly became one of the most talked about moments in the K-pop community that month. During the live, he played BTS's Mic Drop, right in the days following J-Hope's electrifying performance of the same song at the prestigious French charity event Le Gala de Pieces Jaunes. He spoke about J-Hope's performance with such genuine admiration, describing it as really cool, not just from the perspective of an army, but as a fellow K-pop idol who truly understood what it takes to command a stage of that magnitude. The fan reaction was immediate and enormous. "Certified purple-blooded," one fan declared on X, referencing the iconic purple color associated with BTS and the ARMY fandom. "He is very vocal and loving BTS," wrote another. "ENHA is the biggest BTS fanboys," someone else exclaimed. And one comment in particular captured something beautiful. "He was on the live streams with us like," as if to say that in that moment, Jungwon was not an idol sitting on a pedestal. He was one of them, a fan, watching from a screen, feeling the same rush of joy that millions of others were feeling at the exact same time. Then, on September 15th, 2024, Jungwon did it again. In another Weverse live session, he played songs from Jungkook's Golden album, specifically the emotionally charged B-side tracks, Too Sad to Dance, and Please Don't Change. He did not just play them. He talked about them with a kind of quiet sincerity that made it obvious these were songs he had truly spent time with. He even revealed that he had wanted to attend one of Jungkook's showcases as an ordinary fan, just to sit in the audience and experience it the way everyone else did. But Hypen's comeback schedule made that impossible. Fans responded with the kind of warmth that only a truly genuine moment can produce. "The cutest fanboy," one person wrote. "I just know Jungwon was so sad when JK enlisted." And perhaps the most telling comment of all, "I love idols who show they are ARMY through and through." And then came December 18th, 2024. Jungkook surprised everyone with a Weverse Live, his first since enlisting in the military. Millions of fans from every corner of the world immediately flooded in to watch. And among those millions was Jungwon. An Engine posted about the live on Weverse, and Jungwon responded in the most adorably earnest way imaginable. "I should watch the live," in a tone described as both cute and completely sincere. He was one of millions, tuning in, heart full, to watch someone he loved. So why do moments like these cause such massive reactions? Why does the internet erupt every time Jungwon does something as simple as playing a BTS song on a live stream? The answer is actually quite profound, and it touches on something deeply universal. In an industry that often demands polished perfection, where every statement is carefully measured, every image is meticulously curated, and vulnerability is rarely seen as a strength, Jungwon consistently chooses a different path. He chooses to be real. He chooses to acknowledge his admiration openly, to celebrate the artists he loves without any hesitation, and to share those small, personal moments of joy with his fans. When he wrote "Aalagagak" on Weverse after being noticed by 3 BTS members at once, that was not a calculated response. It was the unfiltered reaction of a young man who was simply overwhelmed with happiness. When he played Mic Drop on his live and spoke about Jhope's performance with shining eyes, that was not cross-promotional strategy. That was a fan genuinely in awe of another artist's work. And when he said he wished he could attend Jungkook's showcase as just a regular fan in the crowd, that was a window into the most human part of him. This is exactly why Jungwon has earned the title of the most legit idol army. Not because he mentions BTS often, but because when he does, it always feels true. It always feels earned. It always feels like it comes from the same place that every fan in the world understands. That deep, inexplicable love for someone's art that you simply cannot put into words. And what makes this story even more beautiful is that it is not one-sided. BTS, through members like Jungkook, Jimin, and Jin, has repeatedly shown genuine appreciation for ENHYPEN. They share the same label, they exist in the same ecosystem, and the way they support each other is a rare and wonderful example of what the relationship between seniors and juniors in K-pop can look like at its very best. Not competitive, not distant, but warm, reciprocal, and full of mutual respect. One of the most touching aspects of all the fan reactions surrounding these moments is how they consistently bring two fandoms together. Every time Jungwon does something that connects him to BTS, armies and Engins find themselves in the same space, sharing the same emotion, cheering for the same person. Armies feel a deep sense of pride seeing a next-generation idol, trained under the same roof as BTS, carrying BTS's music and legacy with such genuine love. For many of them, Jungwon represents proof that the impact of BTS's artistry truly transcends generations, reaching not just millions of fans around the world, but also the very artists who came after them. Engins, on the other hand, fall deeper in love with their leader every time they see him drop his idol persona for a moment and simply be himself. There is something uniquely powerful about watching the person you admire also admire someone else. It makes them feel more human, more reachable, more like someone you could actually know. And for K-pop fans in general, regardless of fandom affiliation, Jungwon's moments of BTS-related fanboying are simply delightful to witness. In a world full of carefully managed images and strategically timed statements, genuine enthusiasm is rare. And when it shows up in someone as visible as Jungwon, people pay attention. Beyond the viral moments and the touching fan reactions, there is a larger story being told here, one about growth, legacy, and what it means to lead with authenticity. Jungwon grew up listening to BTS. He trained in the same building. He debuted under the same label. And now he leads his own group toward achievements that are equally extraordinary. ENHYPEN has already established themselves as a formidable force in global K-pop. Their album Dilemma became their first million seller. Dark Blood debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200. Their world tours, Manifesto, Fate, and Walk the Line, have taken them to stages across the globe, in front of audiences who love them just as fiercely as ARMY loves BTS. And through all of that, Jungwon remains grounded. He has spoken openly about the challenges of being a leader, not the technical challenges of perfecting choreography or hitting every note, but the emotional ones. The responsibility of making sure every member of his team is okay. The weight of keeping 7 people motivated, healthy, and connected even when schedules are relentless and exhaustion is real. He once revealed during an interview that even in the midst of their busiest tour periods, they were already preparing the next album. When we finish performing, we don't just rest. We also have to prepare the next album, he said. That kind of honesty, that willingness to pull back the curtain on how demanding idol life truly is not something every artist chooses to do. But Jungwon has always been that kind of person. Someone who believes that the people who support him deserve the truth. And yet, even in the middle of all that pressure, he still finds time to sit down, press play on a BTS song, and let himself feel whatever it is that music makes him feel. He still finds time to share that with his fans. He still finds time to simply be a person who loves music, not just as a career, but as a source of genuine comfort and joy. That, more than anything, might be the most important thing to take away from everything we have talked about today. Jungwon reminds us that no matter how high you rise, no matter how many people look up to you, there is always someone whose work moves you in ways you cannot fully explain. There is always a song that makes you feel like words are not enough. There is always a performance that leaves you breathless, thinking to yourself, I should watch the live. Jimin's music, from the ethereal softness of Serendipity, to the bold, boundary-pushing theatricality of Filter, to the worldwide phenomenon that was like crazy, has become a part of the soundtrack of Jungwon's life. Just as it has become a part of the soundtrack of millions of lives around the world. And when Jungwon talks about that music, or plays it, or reacts to it with that unmistakable look of pure, unguarded joy, he reminds all of us why we fell in love with K-pop in the first place. Because at its core, K-pop is not just about perfect performances or chart-topping numbers. It is about connection. It is about finding something in a song or a stage or a person that makes you feel less alone in the world. And Jungwon, in all of his sincerity, in all of his vulnerability, in all of his aagavaligagic energy, is living proof of that. So that's everything for today, everyone. What team are you on? An army who is proud of Jungwon, an engine who is falling even more in love with your leader, or maybe you are both at the same time. Let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to hear from you. If this video made you smile, or maybe even tear up just a little, please hit that like button. It tells me that you enjoyed this kind of content and that you want more of it. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a K-pop update from this channel. Until the next one, Sarangi, everyone. Purple heart, yellow heart.